Hey everybody, this is Orgone El Paso, and I want to show you guys something that I made. So, this is a Rodin coil. I don't know, some people may have seen it, some people may have never seen it. This is based off of Marco Rodin's research into what is referred to as vortex-based mathematics, and it's basically I don't know, I've been learning this for a while on my own. I have no electrical engineering experience. This is all just looking stuff up. And so what it's supposed to do is set up what it does, it's generating a vortex, and it's mimicking nature in a way where, like, everything, like where you have a hurricane, it's all in the shape of a torus or in a spiral. It's, I don't know, yeah, it's something to look up. But I want to show you what I've made. It's the same concept as what I used was for what's used conventionally for this type of the Rodin coil is the little child's play things, those little donuts where it's like large, small, from largest to smallest, and the kids stack them up. So what I did was I cut it in half and I made my own torus, which is made up of orgonite. And the thing with this torus is that in the middle, right here in the fusion, I included a layer of hemp. You can't see it because it's all black, but I have your basic orgonite, which is iron filings, quartz crystals, and tourmaline, black tourmaline. And so I let that fuse, and I made the other top part. I made it a little aesthetically pleasing. I used malachite. There we go. Use malachite in there, and there's a few other crystals that are wrapped in there. And so basically the torus that I use for this winding is the orgone accumulator, because it has 2 layers of metal and then 1 layer of hemp in the middle. So that's as close as I can get to, or as close as we can get to Wilhelm Reich's version of an accumulator. So I thought it'd be interesting if you had, because orgonite, this stuff gives off its own energy, and so I wanted to see what kind of field, what kind of impact it'll have when you when you run a current into this copper. And the way it would set up, so I have a battery connected to a car amplifier, and then I have the audio input for when I want to run a frequency through my laptop or your cell phone, and then I have the connection over here, so the coil would be plugged in, and you send a frequency through. So what it does is it generates a vortex in here, like a huge, not huge, but from what I'm understanding, it generates a vortex, and the way you can measure or see the effects of that vortex is you can throw a ball in there, you can get a magnetic reader. But what I like to see is like this, because everybody else on YouTube is making them, and they're making the spheres levitate or spin in a circle inside the coil in the hole, and that's one way to show that there's a vortex happening. So with orgonite, you can move this. Some of the pieces I made where they've actually, with no magnets in them, they manipulate the wheel or the needle of the compass. So that to me implies that there is a magnetic field alone in the orgonite. So then when you add in an electromagnetic field, so what's the difference? Like, what's gonna happen? That's what I want to know, and that's why I made it. And this one's just the prototype because I need to use a different wire for this to get the results that I'm looking for. But yep, this is my orgone Rodin coil. And it's all studied off of Marco Rodin's work in vortex-based mathematics. There's a bunch of wonderful presentations. When I first came across this technology or this new concept, I don't know, I had this feeling that it was like the next big thing, but I don't know. There's something weird with it where I don't know, I can't put my hands on it, but I think like the vortex math stuff isn't the solution to all our energy needs, only because when you study the work of Nikola Tesla and Steinmetz and Eric Dollard, and from what I'm understanding, especially with Tesla, where he was making his devices where they were an extension of him, of his consciousness, and so it could work effortlessly and freely, and that's how he wanted to use the Earth as one of his towers or something, and so this one, the way I see it is that it's forcing a vortex. It's not something that wasn't there, so it's literally forcing something out of nothing, and that requires energy. Or so like we have the amp and the car battery, and that it's still consumptive in nature, and nature moves effortlessly and freely, so it's like this isn't going towards that route. And when I study the concept and the mathematics behind it, it is often explained in terms where it fits in with the theory of relativity. But for me, in my world, the theory that whole theory of relativity, the whole theory, it's non-existent for me, because if the orgonate's doing what I know it's doing, I mean, if I think it's doing what it's doing, then all concepts of relativity is out the window. And so for me, and studying Tesla stuff more thoroughly, it doesn't coincide with it. So, and it looks, I mean, the mathematics, man, that stuff is cool once you start learning it, and like it's really cool when you see all the patterns and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. But the work is awesome, the results are good, because you could even, like for me, I could feel a pulse coming out of it. Just by having my hand near it, you could feel some kind of pulse. It's weird. So I don't know if it's the geometry added on, or the copper wire conducting the orgone energy, and if it's just going round and round and round without anything. Oh, I should get a meter reader to see if there's anything going on in here. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for checking this out. This is like 3 years worth of researching the vortex mathematics and the orgone concept, and finally I got to a point where I can where I put them together. So it's really cool for me, and the next step is to get this thing up and running and do some science with it, you know, and figure out what's going on. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.